I lost 100 pounds and then gained 30 of it back. As a trainer, I've been ashamed to admit that. But if you ever lost weight and then regained it, or you felt like a failure after a little bit of a slip up, this is for you. Here's what happened and what both of us can do to fix it. So I'm gonna start off with a metaphor because it just felt like this was perfect. It felt like carrying around a stack of guilt bricks. If I missed a workout, add a brick. Ate off plan, add another brick. If I skipped a check-in or, ate something that was deemed bad, it doesn't matter, fill in the blank, add a brick. And it was all guilt related. It just felt very, shameful. Eventually, I was carrying so much emotional weight that it didn't matter how much physical weight I had lost. I was just exhausted either way. And it was really this mental taxing. You might have been there. You might be able to relate to this. Let me know in the comments if you can. Where it was this, mentally taxing thing that just made me feel exhausted, even though perhaps that day I hadn't even worked out. I really felt overwhelmed and, ignored the warning signs. So even though my plate was literally less full than ever, and I'm going to get into why, the overwhelm happened, and there are going to be things that I think directly probably apply to your life as well, but it just felt like I was busy, even though I was the least busy I had been in a long time. Guilt tends to, and this is exactly what happened to me, makes us self-isolate, and then we feel even worse. For me, I avoid self-care, just literally even shaving properly. And I don't know why I tend to do that. It's just very anxiety related. And, it's just this kind of spiral, which I'm going to get a little bit more into. Okay, so the second thing, kind of the second point here is that I stopped taking my weight along with other habits. And I'm going to get into those other habits. But the big one that I wanted to make sure to discuss on its own was I stopped taking my weight. I call it the invisible breakdown. And I alluded to this earlier that I talk a little bit more about this, where first you feel overwhelmed. You just feel like all of this stuff is in your head. And, for me, it felt like it was real life as well, but it was really just all up here. And again, you very well might relate to this. I feel like a lot of people do. I felt stressed, busy, and anxious, even though some of that wasn't true. I wasn't actually as busy. And again, I'm going to get into the busyness and everything that happened, but I pushed through anyway. And that pushing through is what causes a lot of the breaking point to happen. The next step of the invisible breakdown, where you kind of keep spiraling down, is isolation. So for me, I stopped opening up, stopped checking in, and I really do that with myself. I don't have a personal trainer for myself, although a lot of trainers do have trainers, so maybe I should. But you smile through it anyway. And again, you might relate to this where you feel like, some of my clients, I will message them 3, 4, 5 times before they get back to me. I'll call them and give them a voice message. I'll send them a video or whatever, send them messages. Even sometimes the second message, I usually try to do something that's completely off, topic, like just, how are you feeling today? How was your vacation last week or whatever, it is. It's not so much checking in on how they're doing with their habits and everything, so that they have a reason to respond. And then we kind of get into the habits where maybe the guilt is kind of hiding. So the third part of this is a shutdown. So we got overwhelm, isolation, and then shutdown. That isolation is a big part of it because you have no one there to help pull you out of that and to catch you. And that's where training really can come into play, whether it's me or someone else. Having someone there that says, hey, this is actually not as bad as you think. But it's always better to have that second opinion. You would think that I would be able to do this for myself, but it really helps to have a set of eyeballs that isn't, really close family or close friends or something that helps you see the truth. But for the shutdown portion, you completely ghost your habits, right? So I would just stop doing my habits at all. And the reason I say ghost your habits is because you wouldn't even want to think about it. Just try to push it off to the side. Stop caring about results and then just fall off completely. Now, all this happens pretty quietly. You try just to hide it and hide it from yourself as well. And that's what was going on with me. Like I just alluded to, the scary part is that no one notices it, not even you, until it's already taken over, until it's kind of not too late, but you know what I'm saying? You've kind of started down that spiral. So for me, going back to the stop taking my weight, I avoided the scale, not so much out of fear, just shame. And the mirror. The mirror's always been a big one for me, for 20 years. It's been a big one. Now I have, I said that I lost 100 pounds and gained 30 of it back. So I still am overall down. And so, that's where I'm at now, is kind of catching myself out of that. And that's something that I think you should encourage yourself with as well, is if you, let's say you lose 10 pounds and you gain 2 back, you're down 8 pounds. If you carry forward from there, you're going to be just fine. About the mirror thing though, I guess it's kind of if I don't look at it, it's not real, or at least I don't have to think about it being real. And then at that point, small gains in not good gains in body fat, just kind of happen without you noticing. And you would notice if you just took the time to face that difficult situation. And it's not as difficult. It's not usually as bad as it feels. Now, gaining 30 pounds back, definitely not good. But it's not as bad as I was thinking it was in my head, because I just was ignoring the mirror and the scale entirely. So the fix for this is pretty simple. No matter what, take your weight. It has been a proven fact for a long time in the research literature that the people who are most successful at losing weight, and here's the kicker, keeping it off, they continue to take their weight. They also tend to track food of some sort or follow some sort of meal plan where they're either on intermittent fasting or something like keto or something like that, something that they can enjoy and stick to forever. And you don't literally have to track every single calorie, but just knowing what's coming in your body and kind of being aware of that. That's also a habit that I don't think I talk about really in here. I do kind of towards the end. But the most important habit is taking your weight. Because how much faster would I have caught this? Would I have caught this at 15 pounds up? And now I'd have 15 less pounds to lose again, so it is a big difference. You will catch it at some point. Even if the shame causes you to go a little further, you will catch it faster than if you just ignore it. A common analogy that I use with my clients is it's like your budget. Budgets should be freeing. Looking into your amount of money and saying, okay, this is the money coming in, this is what I can spend. It should be like, okay, well, I feel okay about this now because I'm not worried that I'm going super deep in debt or something like that. But, knowing that I have $1,000 to spend, or, whatever, $100 to spend, it might only be $100, but at least you know it. And then you can stop yourself if you get a little bit close. So the third thing, I was giving full Walter White treatment, full Walter White energy. I thought that was a perfect example. If you guys remember Walter White from Breaking Bad, he was so obsessed with taking care of his family that he ended up losing his family. He got so lost in his goals that the very thing that was what his goals were for became secondary. So for me, it was work. I got so locked in on doing YouTube and trying to grow my business and taking care of the clients that I had and the clients that were coming in and everything, because things did pick up. And I was so obsessed with working that I let my own self-care slip. It just kind of went to the back burner. I was obsessed with progress in my business, and there was progress. There was great progress. Justifying everything as a necessary sort of sacrifice, if you will. And the very thing that got me where I was, taking care of myself and my own transformation and my own steps, started to slip. So I definitely let my job, and it still is, like, there's a piece of this that I don't regret, and I still want it. Personal training is very, very important to me. I love helping people. I work with people that are very big, so I might not be ripped myself right now. I'm hoping to get there. But I help people that are like 300, 400 pounds get down to 200 pounds, and even though they might still be overweight at that point, they're in a life-saving position. So it is still so important to me, and seeing people just have these successes and report into me of how excited. I have a bunch of screenshots of people and just how happy they are with I should post it more, how happy they are with the program and everything that's, the pant sizes they've dropped and the dress sizes they've dropped, and, how they're able to go to their kids' soccer game or whatever and not feel like they're winded. Things like that are just, they mean a lot to me. But I let it really become my identity, like beyond what is probably healthy. And so that is the big lesson here is just remembering your why, is focusing in on why are you doing this instead of letting the very thing get lost. For me, and I have this list, I just, didn't make it non-negotiable, a list of non-negotiable habits. For you, that might be 5,000 steps a day. And, if I have a workout that day, make sure to get in my workout and eat, as long as I log it, I can eat it. Let's say those are your 3 habits. Those will just they're like guardrails while bowling, where if you kind of go off course, it bounces you back in. And you might have gone off a little bit. It still might not be a strike or something, but I just made up this analogy off the top of my head, so sorry if it feels clunky. But it might not be a strike. It might not even be a spare, but you are moving in the right direction because you have your guardrails keeping you in place. So the fourth thing for me was my faith. My faith in God is very important, as you can see, from my tattoos. And, it's just an essential part of my life. And I stopped praying, journaling. I never journaled a bunch before, but, every once in a while I did whenever things got difficult. Didn't turn back to that. And reflecting and reading my Bible. So if you have something, you might not believe in the God of the Bible. I believe that that is the one true God. But if whatever it is for you, that, if it's even like meditation, just having something that kind of grounds you and reminds you and helps you be more present in the moment, helps you feel like me and myself isn't the biggest thing here. There is something much bigger. And even if that's just other people and helping the world, putting that in perspective of what is actually important kind of makes the unimportant thing much easier to achieve. I don't think making it less important in comparison to other people, or in comparison, in my case, to God, is making it harder to achieve. I think it actually just takes the pressure off, at least for me. I definitely felt disconnected from my bigger purpose, because even though my first goal is to help as many people as possible with this thing that has plagued my life, and I feel like for the most part I have overcome it, and I want to give that to other people. So that's my first thing. But the bigger thing is showing people that a Christian, that not all Christians are, bad. Not nearly all Christians are bad. And so, glorifying God and giving credit to God when I get the chance is something that was really important to me. And I kind of lost that in my business, and it was more about success than it was about serving God. So I think the fix for this is to have one of your non-negotiable habits that I mentioned earlier to be to pray, read your Bible, and connect with God. And like I said, if it's not God, whatever it is for you, that is the bigger purpose, the overarching thing. And I hope one day that does become Jesus Christ and the God of the Bible. And the fifth habit, I alluded to this earlier, but again, I wanted to specifically bring this up here because I kind of let some habits slip. As I stopped logging my food, for me, that is a big deal. I don't think a person has to log forever, but just looking at the calories and knowing what is going in your body. So if you have a loaf of bread that is from the bakery that does not have a label, at least logging, a slice of bread, Great Value, I think that's Walmart's brand, slice of bread. That'll give you an idea, ballpark, of where it should be. I'm not saying that's accurate logging. Whenever I work with my clients, I work with actually having as accurate logging as possible, at least to be able to help them with the 12 or 16 weeks that they're with me. But you really just focusing on what is coming into my body is just so empowering. It's kind of like that budget thing earlier that, that ice cream, it might have been 450 calories, but that's not nearly as bad as it kind of was going on in my head. And just acknowledging how much it actually was. And then, of course, if you can eat from my cookbook, that is going to save you a lot of time, food logging, because all the calories, all the servings are right there. Super easy. So if you're at this point in the video, that means you're probably pretty dedicated to your weight loss. And so get that in the pinned comment in the description. It's totally free. Meal prep size meals, really good food. You're going to love it. For me, I kind of, this following a theme here, I'm realizing, and this might have been obvious to you before, but I ate whatever and hoped it worked out. I just didn't want to think about it. So just kind of ate it. It was a lot of grazing. It was like, oh, well, these, handful of pretzels aren't going to really do anything. And ultimately it wouldn't, 100 calories of pretzels wouldn't. But if it's 100 calories here and 500 calories there and 300 calories there, I mean, that is the difference between losing and gaining weight. So just being accountable to yourself and making sure to log it, or at least acknowledge the calories. That's something that I think was pretty important for me. If you're ever in this situation, I think the fix here isn't just simply start logging. I think the fix might be, you don't have to log maybe necessarily, but focus on getting protein and vegetables and fruit. The basis of a healthy meal. Low-fat dairy, things like that. Whenever you combine those things, let's say you had chicken, low-fat dairy, and a little bit of rice. That would be a great meal. And I know that wasn't included in that list that I had before. But, a salad with a bunch of chicken on it and a bunch of low-fat mozzarella cheese. That would be a high-protein, big volume meal. You're going to have trouble overeating on that long-term. Now, the things that are easy to overeat on are chips, pretzels, and sweets.